DC Comics Task Force X, better known by the nickname Suicide Squad, is a popular team of villains forced to be heroes. But do you know about Marvel's versions? First appearing in its modern form in the Legends miniseries that ran from November 1986 to April 1987, the Suicide Squad, or Task Force X, is a team put together, usually by Amanda Waller, of supervillains fighting for the United States government in covert missions. Sometimes it's because they have bombs in their necks, sometimes it's for time off their sentences, or a mixture of the previously mentioned. This brings me to Marvel's version, because I often see this question posed. What is Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad? Now, the two most common answers I hear are either the Thunderbolts or the Dark Avengers, but I don't think either fits close enough. That I will be judging these comics on in a seventh kind of bonus criteria. Criteria are number 1, are they a governmental organization? Number 2, does it consist of superpowered criminals? Number 3, I call it freedom and death, and it's what the stakes are. So the stakes in Suicide Squad is usually time off their sentence or complete freedom, and there's the threat of the bombs, usually in their neck. My fourth criteria is whether or not they're covert, because that's a big thing with the Task Force X, is it's supposed to be not even people in government know about it. Number 5, whether the people in it are expendable, because that's a big one that they emphasize in Task Force X, is that everyone that's in here, they can die, and it doesn't matter. And that's where the name comes from. Because if you're on the squad, you're most likely going to die. Supposedly. That doesn't usually hash out in universe, but that's what they say. Our 6 is a handler. So, with the Suicide Squad, they have Rick Flag, usually, as kind of their handler. And or Amanda Waller. And then I kind of have my bonus criteria is the hero/anti-hero. Sometimes the Suicide Squad will have someone on it that, like in the 2016 Suicide Squad movie, Katana's on the team, and she's more of like an anti-hero, hero type character that is on the team kind of as Rick Flag's backup. And so that some iterations of Suicide Squad have someone like that and some don't. So the Thunderbolts first appeared in the pages of The Incredible Hulk, specifically issue 449, the team consisting of Mach 1, Songbird, Techno, Atlas, Meteorite, and Citizen V. They got their own series after this, entitled, well, Thunderbolts. The first issue shows them fighting and defeating the Wrecking Crew, repairing the Statue of Liberty, where it was damaged by the Wrecking Crew, and being well received in the eyes of the public. The end of this issue reveals who the team really is. Their leader, Citizen V, is actually the 13th Baron Zemo, Helmet Baron Zemo to be exact. Mach 1 is really Beetle, Songbird is Moonstone, Techno is Fixer, Atlas is actually Goliath, and Meteorite is actually Screaming Mimi. They are the disguised Masters of Evil, the enemies of the Avengers. Zemo planned on gaining the trust of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stealing secrets, but after the return of the Avengers and the Fantastic Four, who had gone missing during the Onslaught saga, that idea was no longer viable. Pretty much everyone else on the team liked being a hero and continued hero work even after Zemo spitefully revealed the truth to the world. Now, you can probably see my issue here. While an interesting idea and an amazing comic, this is not really like the Suicide Squad. They both involve supervillains in a semi-heroic capacity, but that's where the similarities end. Most incarnations of the Thunderbolts are villains genuinely trying their best to reform. So let's check our criteria with the Thunderbolts. First, are they governmental? No, they're independent and also they're technically evil. 2, they are superpowered criminals, so that's 1 point. 3, freedom and death. Well, none of them are in prison or trying to get free, and the stakes aren't they have a bomb in their neck or death in some way if they don't complete the mission. 4, covert. They are not covert. They very publicly speak to the news even in their first issue. 5, are they expendable? We don't really see any of them die, so I'm going to say no on that one. They're not really, the team is not designed for them to lose members. And 6, their handler. The closest thing they would have to a handler is probably Baron Zemo, who leads the team, but that's not really the kind of thing I mean. So I'm going to say there is no handler. So it gets 1 point for superpowered criminals, and I guess maybe I can give it a bonus point because the people on the team end up wanting to become heroes. 1 and a non-counting bonus point for Thunderbolts. Our next off-stated team is the Dark Avengers. Unlike DC's Justice League Dark, the Dark Avengers are not a team of magic users. Instead, the Dark Avengers are a team created by Norman Osborn after the dissolution of the Avengers following the invasion by the shape-shifting aliens known as the Skrulls. This team is introduced in Dark Avengers number 1 in 2009. This original team consists of Norman as the Iron Patriot, wearing a US-themed Iron Man armor, the Sentry, Ares, the God of War, along with Noh-Varr, Moonstone, Venom, Bullseye, and Daken, disguised as Captain Marvel, Ms. Marvel, Spider-Man, Hawkeye, and Wolverine, respectively. After his help fighting back the Skrulls, Norman had gained the world's trust and was made Director of S.H.I.E.L.D., an organization he corrupted and made into Hammer. He used the Dark Avengers to retain and strengthen his and others' power and influence. Between the instability of the members on the team's minds, the team eventually imploded, losing members and being defeated by the reformed Avengers. Let's go over our criteria with the Dark Avengers. Firstly, are they governmental? Yes, they are, simply because Norman Osborn is in control of S.H.I.E.L.D., Hammer, whatever you want to call it. So technically, yes, they are governmental. Are they superpowered criminals? Yes, they are. Are they promised freedom and death? Are they promised freedom or at the threat of death? No, not really. Kind of, but not exactly, so I'm not going to count it. Are they covert? No, they very publicly speak to the news about what they're doing. Are they expendable? Kind of. Some members leave and get replaced, but it's not really a team designed to be expendable. I don't think that was Norman's original intention. 6, handler. Again, the closest thing they have to a handler would be Norman Osborn, but that's not. He doesn't really fit what I think a handler should be. He's villainous and does despicable things. And then the bonus for the hero, anti-hero. I'm not gonna give him that one because there's not really anyone on the team. Ares is not really a villain. Their version of Captain Marvel isn't really a villain, but a lot of people leave the team and stuff changes, so I'm not going to give them the bonus point, so that they only get 2 points there. If you're enjoying this video, consider checking out my Patreon. The voicing, editing, visuals, everything that goes in this video is all one person, and that's me. And I really would like to do this for a living, and I currently have no patrons, so if you want to be my first patron, go check out my Patreon, and that's patreon.com/DookieClips. So let's get into the closest team Marvel has to Task Force X. This team appeared during the Secret Wars event in 2015. For those unaware, this event came after Marvel wanted to fold some of the Ultimate Universe characters into their regular 616 universe. In this story, the multiverse is collapsing, worlds are colliding, and no one can stop it, or so it seems. Molecule Man and Doctor Doom attempt to save it by facing the Beyonders, beings with immense power who are extra multiversal or above the multiverse itself. The two manage to steal the power of these beings, Molecule Man fueling them into Doctor Doom, who saves fragments of dying worlds, pulling them together into the patchwork planet known to its inhabitants as Battleworld. Years pass with God Emperor Doom ruling before our story starts, and our story starts in the pages of Red Skull number 1. We find ourselves in the domain of Killville, at T. Roy's bar, where Electro brags about taking down 2 Thors. The Thors in this world are the equivalent of the police force. He got in trouble for hopping borders and had said, "Hail Red Skull," to upset the Thors, as everyone worships Doom, and, worshipping anyone else, is slanderous. While Electro spins this yarn, we see a figure slowly approaching from behind, and the figure suddenly pulls out guns and blows everyone except for Electro away. He clamps the device around Electro's neck and drags him outside to a waiting Quinjet. The device he put on his neck dampens superpowers. The Quinjet is already partially occupied, Electro being the last, our mystery man wanted. One of these occupants, Magneto, reveals that all but one of them have something in common. They all committed crimes against Doom. Magneto tore a statue of Doom down, Moonstone held meetings to sow distrust, Jack-O-Lantern destroyed a building of Doom's, Lady Deathstrike killed 3 Thors, and the Winter Soldier is the only exception here of his own accord. Our mystery man reveals these criminals have a shot at redemption, a second chance from Doom himself. The Red Skull had at some point tried to overthrow God Emperor Doom unsuccessfully. When he failed, he was banished to the domain known as the Deadlands, beyond the Shield. The Deadlands are where the Marvel zombies are contained. Marvel zombies differ from the contemporary counterparts in that they retain their memories, speech abilities, and even the majority of their superpowers. Certain things like healing factors do stop working, however. The thing containing them is a gigantic defensive wall. This wall stands at 250 feet tall and circles the planet, all 16,000 miles. Thors and individuals who are considered criminals, but not ones that did crime so bad to be sentenced to the Deadlands, guard the shield to make sure no zombies can escape into the rest of Battleworld. The Deadland was intended to be Red Skull's final resting place, but rumors of his continued existence plague Doom. People celebrate Red Skull and worship him the same way Electro seems to, and Doom wants his head to prove to the world that Red Skull is dead and that no one should try to oppose him. Magneto argues that anyone surviving or escaping from the Deadlands is impossible, and our mystery man reveals he did. He's the former underling of Red Skull known as Crossbones. Crossbones explains that he is now loyal to Doom, as he can see where the power lies. Sheriff Strange, Dr. Doom's right hand and commander of the Thors, recruited Crossbones to bring proof of Red Skull's death to quiet the dissenters. Strange asked him to gather a team of expendable criminals to recover Red Skull's body, which are the people that he has gathered on this Quinjet right now. Electro takes this opportunity to attack Crossbones, but Crossbones activates an as-of-yet unseen ability of the Collars. Electro's electrical powers go haywire, and Crossbones helps him back into his seat with a punch. Crossbones explains the Collars are designed to turn the powers of the wearer against them should they try anything. This keeps flyers from flying, and the Collars will detonate upon attempted removal, along with the aforementioned power dampening. This is where the Winter Soldier, aka Bucky Barnes, collarless, reveals he volunteered, because he and the Red Skull have, quote, unfinished business. Crossbones tells them that they have 24 hours, and if they succeed, they earn their freedom. About then, they arrive at the Shield, landing the Quinjet outside it, near a gate. As they unload, Electro freaks out at the sight of a T-Rex that Crossbones quickly dispatches with a gunshot through the head. Crossbones reveals this entrance, this tunnel, was his handiwork, built after his escape. He sends his squad in, staying outside to guard this exit. The dino he shot was its guard, and Crossbones only trusts himself to watch for any investigators or unwanted land escapees. As the door is shut behind the six enter the Deadlands, Magneto makes a comment that he would tear down the wall if he was at his full power, and Bucky says he would never allow that, as the dead would spread across the rest of Battleworld and kill innocent people. Electro spots a graffitied Red Skull on a destroyed Ultron and excitedly exclaims that the Red Skull is alive and will lead them all out. This is immediately undermined when he's relieved of a piece of his shoulder by a zombie Electro. See, as I mentioned the fragments of worlds in Thor's earlier, you may have picked up on the fact there are multiple variations of some characters. The other 5 squad members are surrounded as Bucky barks out orders. They try and hold their own, but with the collars inhibiting their power, they fall quickly, all but Magneto. As Magneto is seconds from being overwhelmed, a sword slashes through the zombies, and Red Skull stands over Magneto. That's where this issue comes to a close. So let's go through our checklist for what makes a Suicide Squad. Number 1, fighting for the government. In this comic, they're not fighting for the US government, but Doom's government. Doom is the king, Doom is the god emperor of Battleworld, and so his rule is law, so technically they are working for the government through Sheriff Strange, and ultimately through Doom. Our second criteria, they're superpowered criminals. With the exception of Bucky, they all committed crimes against Doom, and should have been put to death or forced to work on the shield, but instead they are sent to do this mission. Freedom and death. Crossbones tells them they'll be freed of all charges if they succeed, and the collars are explosive if they attempt to remove them. 4. They're covert. Crossbones made sure there were no guards on the shield and killed the dino that was guarding this gate. 5. They're expendable. We see that because every single one of them dies except for Magneto. And then our bonus is the Bucky Barnes being there, the Winter Soldier. All in all, in the discussion of Marvel's Suicide Squad, I felt like this was the most fitting. But I'm fallible and may have missed something, so let me know in the comments if I did, and if any of the comics I mentioned in this video sounded interesting, I encourage you to check them out for yourself. I left out a lot of important plot elements and details. Red Skull has 2 more issues in which it wraps up its story. Dark Reign, in which the Dark Avengers appear, was a company-wide crossover. Thunderbolts and Suicide Squad have both had many versions and rosters over the years, so there's no shortage to read for yourself. Have a great day.
So that's it? What, we some kind of Suicide Squad?